Hello and welcome to the second part of my series about getting started with 12-volt trains. If you haven't watched the first part of this series, I recommend that you watch it before continuing with this because it contains useful information regarding the components needed to set up a layout. This part will be about which sets to purchase if you're just getting started. Also, I should say that this is going to be a lot of me talking. The trains in the video are just for the thumbnail. There's going to be nothing running in this video. I have a 5-page script ready to go. So if you're not prepared for that, you're better off spending your time watching my layout videos instead. For this video, each set that I evaluate will have a short description and then my personal thoughts on whether or not you should purchase it as your first 12-volt set. I'll be covering every 12-volt set that includes a motor, including the 9 trains plus the supplemental motor set, 7865. I'll go in the order in which the sets were released and then to the number of the set. For pricing, the price that I list is just a rough estimate for a set in fair to good condition. Starting in 1980, the first 12-volt set on the list is number 7730 Electric Goods Train. This set is a starter set, meaning that it includes a small oval of track in addition to the train itself. The train consists of a small steam locomotive and 3 goods wagons, and the set also has a small forklift, 4 goods pallets, and 2 minifigures. The set is usually fairly easy to find in decent condition and the box isn't super rare, but it does include a red 12-volt motor and some of the more expensive black windows, which means the set usually sells for around $300 to $350. I would recommend getting this set if you really want a steam locomotive and or a red motor, because of the 3 sets with red motors, this is typically the cheapest and most common. I do have this set. It is the train second from the left. The next set is an iconic train that fans today will easily recognize, the red and yellow 7740 intercity passenger train. This set was the flagship train of the early 1980s and had a long production run from 1980 to the end of 1984, and like the 7730, it was a starter set, so it did include a loop of track. The train consists of a locomotive with lights in the front and back, a standard passenger wagon, and a dining wagon. All 3 cars use the long 6x28 stud base plate. The engine is believed to be modeled after the real-life Trans-Europe Express, Rheingold. Also included is a small station and a whopping 10 minifigures. This set is pretty common on eBay or BrickLink, but it does include a large amount of semi-rare parts, so you'll usually end up paying around $350 for a copy. I would highly recommend getting this set as your entry into the 12-volt world. Although it can get expensive, it's also one of the most iconic LEGO trains of all time, and is overall a very nice train. You know it's coming, the most expensive 12-volt set out there, 7750 steam engine. Contrary to its simple name, the set is notoriously rare to find in good condition and includes many rare parts, including a red motor, black windows, and special bogie parts. I believe it sold poorly, leading to its rarity now. The set is a standalone locomotive, which means it does not include any track or wagons, just the included steam engine and tender, plus 2 minifigures. It looks very nice in the layout because it's the only large 12-volt steam engine officially produced by LEGO. All others use short bases and had no tender. This set has light bricks in the front of the engine and the back of the tender. Due to its rarity, a set in good condition will usually be listed for around $500. As your first 12-volt train, I would not recommend getting this set, because it's very expensive and to make a complete train you need to buy additional wagons. It also doesn't include any track, unlike all starter sets, which do include at least a complete circle. To start with the 7750 means spending at the very minimum $650 on your first 12-volt purchases. The next set I'll cover is a rare supplemental engine, the 7760 diesel shunting locomotive. This small blue shunter packs a lot of rare elements into such a small set, including 1x3x2 windows and weight elements in blue, which are both exclusive to this set. It's a small locomotive but looks very nice with a few short wagons behind it. Like the 7750, this standalone locomotive does not include any wagons or track, so you'll have to purchase both of those components separately. It does include 2 minifigures. Since the 7760 sells for around $200 in good condition, a complete small layout may end up costing you as much as $400 total, but for this engine it's worth it. This is a nice engine, and if you like the look of it or already have wagons, I would recommend purchasing it, although keep in mind you will need track. After the first big wave of sets in 1980, there was a new set released in 1981, and that was the 7725 electric passenger train. This is a small local train, sometimes called the Red Rider, which included 3 short passenger wagons. The motor is integrated into the front wagon. It's a starter set, so it does include a circle of track, but only 1 minifigure and no station. This set can be found starting at around $200, making it one of the cheapest 12-volt starter sets available. If you don't want to spend a lot of money on a set like say the 7740, this train would be a smart purchase for you. One thing to note is that the 7725 does not include many stickers, so it's usually pretty easy to get this set with all the stickers applied. Some people think of it as the little brother of the 7740 because the design of the front and rear of the train is similar to that of 7740's locomotive, although the 7725 is all in red and the 7740 is yellow and red. The second big wave of 12-volt sets was in 1983, and it was at this time that another rare set was introduced, the 7727 freight steam train. This was a starter set, so it included an oval of track in addition to a small steam engine, 3 goods wagons, a forklift, and 2 minifigures. The 7727 was also the third and last time a red motor would be included in any 12-volt set, and this makes the set quite expensive now. Usually a complete set in good condition will sell for around $300 to $350. Interestingly, the box for the set is very rare and expensive in good condition, sometimes as much as a $200 price difference between a set without the box and a set with the box. The 7727 is also rare now because it was the direct successor to the 7730, so many people who wanted a steam engine already had one. It also had a short production period, from 1983 to the end of 1984. I look at this set similarly to 7730 because they both include a small steam engine and red motor and are starter sets, so if you really want a red motor or a steam engine, this is a solid choice for a set. Although the 7727 is rare, the 7730 does have 2 of the $30 black 1x1x2 windows, which the 7727 does not have, so they end up being around the same price. Choosing between them comes down to availability and personal preference. Released at the same time as the 7727, the 7755 heavy diesel shunting locomotive was the successor to the 7750 and 7760. Like those sets, it was also a supplemental locomotive, meaning it did not include tracker wagons, only the engine and minifigure. This red engine has an unmistakable look of being very powerful. It's taller than other locomotives and is impressive to look at on its 28 stud long base plate and extended bogies. It doesn't have a lot of rare parts, so this set can usually be acquired between $150 and $200, making it one of the cheaper sets. However, like the 7727, the box is very rare, so if you really want a box for your first 12-volt set, I would not recommend this set unless you're willing to spend, well, I don't actually have a good estimate because I'm not seeing a set with a box for sale often, but I would guess anywhere from $350 to $600. I have a similar opinion on this set as I do to 7760. If you like the look of this set, it's a great option, but be aware you have to purchase wagons and track as well. The third and last major wave of 12-volt sets was in 1985, and one of the trains included was the 7735 freight train. This starter set included a red and yellow short diesel locomotive and 3 goods wagons, in addition to a small station, several small vehicles, 2 minifigures, and an oval of track. It is one of the most common 12-volt sets now, due to its long production run and availability, and since it does not include many rare parts, you can usually find it for around $200 to $250. It has a good variety of parts and finished components, but personally, I don't have as much of a desire to buy this set. The diesel locomotive is nice, but I'd much rather get the 7760 or 7755 with some extra wagons, and I prefer the freight trains with the steam engines over this one. For a more budget-friendly starter set, though, it's a great option, especially since the box is fairly cheap. The final train set I'll cover today is the 7745 High-Speed City Express passenger train. This starter set was the flagship 12-volt train of the later part of the 1980s, and like the 7735, its long production run means it's still widely available today. However, it tends to be more expensive than the 7735 because it uses long train base plates, and the parts required for trains with longer base plates are rarer. The completed set is believed to be modeled after the TGV, with a sleek profile and sloped front and rear ends. In addition to the train itself, the set includes 10 minifigures and a station with an oval of track. There's a locomotive which has a fake engine unit in the train and the motor underneath, a middle passenger wagon, and a rear wagon with a kitchen that has the same sloping end as the front wagon. The train is red with black windows and a white stripe under the windows. The motor is in the front car, and there are lights installed in the front and back of the train, so a wire must be connected through the middle wagon. This set usually sells for around $250 to $300 in good condition. I look at this set similarly to the 7740. It's iconic and a great entry point into the 12-volt world because it's a full passenger train and includes track. There's one last set I would like to mention, and that is the 7865 12-volt motor. This is not a train set, but it does include a 12-volt train motor and some necessary parts such as middle wheels, weight elements, connecting rods, and steam cylinders. To build a train with this, you need other pieces or an upgradable set. Push and 4.5-volt trains cannot run on the 12-volt line, but install a 12-volt motor and they'll work just the same as a full 12-volt train set. Sets 7715 and 7722 have instructions in the back of their instruction booklets showing how to install a 12-volt motor, and sets 7710, 7720, and 7810 don't have instructions on how to do this, but can be upgraded with the motor. It would be a smart idea to buy the 7865 set if you already own one of the sets listed above and 4.5-volt track, because you can save yourself money. It's only around $70 for the set. One important thing to note is that if you have a 4.5-volt train you plan to upgrade, is that you must buy the 12-volt conducting middle rails, which are set 7854 and 7855. These rails are placed in the center of your 4.5-volt tracks. Another reason to buy the 7865 is if you want to build your own train and just need the motor unit. To sum it up, the 7865 is a good purchase if you can upgrade a set you own. Otherwise, if you're coming into 12 volt with no experience and no sets, I would recommend one of the train sets instead. In the first part of this series, I covered the function of the 12 volt transformer. This is set number 7864. None of the train sets I went over include a transformer. The only way to get this is to purchase the transformer set. You'll need the transformer to start your 12 volt collection, so it's vital that you purchase this with your first round of orders. If you buy the complete set, which is around $20 to $30, it should come with a 96 stud wire that can connect to the track. One thing to note is that the listings, which only say they include the transformer with a speed throttle, those are a fine purchase because they do include the transformer and the black knob on top, but usually they're missing the wire. You'll need this wire or a special connecting rail, which I also explained in part 1. I will link in the description part lookups on BrickLink for both the wire alone and the special connecting rail that can attach to the transformer. Another important thing to note is that if you buy a supplemental engine that is 7750, 7755, or 7760, you will need 12 volt track. Track sets are divided into 4.5 volt and 12 volt. 7850 is 4.5 straight rails, 7851 is 4.5 curved rails, 7854 is 12 volt straight conducting rails, and 7855 is 12 volt curved conducting rails. 4.5 volt trains use the same outer rails as 12 volt, but 12 volt also uses metal center conducting rails. 7850 and 7851 only include the outer rails, and 7854 and 7855 only include the inner conducting rails. Each set includes 8 sections of its respective rail type. So to make 8 sections of 12 volt straight track, you'll need one 7850 and one 7854. For curves, you'll need one 7851 and one 7855. Alternatively, you can purchase the individual parts included in each set for however much track you need. Each straight segments will need 2 sleeper plates, 2 straight plastic rails, and 1 straight conducting rail. Each curved segment will need 2 sleeper plates, 1 curved inside plastic rail, 1 curved outside plastic rail, and 1 curved conducting rail. You need the inner and outer plastic rails because the outside of the curve is longer than the inside, so the outside rail is longer than the inside rail. If you have any questions about this, feel free to comment down below and I will answer to the best of my ability. To sum it up, to take the first step into the 12 volt world, you'll need a train set and a transformer. The transformer is set 7864 and you will definitely need that to run your trains and later your accessories. As for the train sets, there are 9 12 volt train sets and it's up to you which one you want to buy. Each has its own pros and cons. Personally, I have 4 recommendations depending on your situation. If you can afford to spend a little more and want to start by buying the most iconic 12 volt train set, you should get the 7740 inner city passenger train. If you're reluctant to spend more than $200 or so on the train, you should get the 7725 electric passenger train. And if you really like the rarity of the red motor or the design of the steam engines, go for the 7730 electric goods train or 7727 freight stream train, depending on preference and availability. All of these sets include an engine, wagons, and track, so the only other thing you need is the transformer and a voltage converter if you're outside of Europe. For me personally, the first orders I placed were a 7745 and a transformer with a lot of extra track, and that went pretty well. As for the total cost, it can be anywhere from $300 to $600 for the train set and transformer, depending on factors such as which set you buy and how much shipping is. International shipping can get very expensive quickly. If you're lucky, you'll find a seller that you can order everything from, instead of ordering from multiple sellers. This way, shipping is cheaper. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I think I spent around $400 to get everything running here in the United States. Well, that brings me to the end of another video. This might end up being the longest one I've made, so if you got to the end, make sure to subscribe. I know this video was information-packed and very dense, but I'm hoping it helps some people who want to get into 12 volt trains, especially those like me in the United States. The next part of this series will be about actually setting up your train once it gets to you. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next video.